Hey, this is Captain Logan from the Keelhauled podcast, and you're listening to the Download Weekly Gaming News.
Robots Radio presents
Rated M for mature.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Download Weekly Gaming News. We are back after a brief vacation of myself. Not so much Brenna. I mean, she did a little camping.
Yeah.
Went to Utah. It was very pretty. I spent some time in the Caribbean, so we both had plenty of sun.
Even more pretty?
It was very pretty. Very pretty. I made a point that Brenna and I need to go back and go scuba diving excessively. Be a lot of fun. I mean, it's water there is unbelievable. So very warm. Anyway, I am Jameson, if you've forgotten.
And I am Brenna, if you have also forgotten. This is a big accident people are forgetting.
I know. So forgetful. We are happy to be back. This week, our special chat room guest is none other than the Captain Logun from Keelhauled, a Sea of Thieves podcast. We had a absolutely great time talking to him this week about pirate games. I need a pirate game.
Oh, I know. You saying his tag name reminded me of another fantastic tag name. If you guys want to stick around to the middle of the episode, you're gonna hear this fantastic tag name that he also plays with. So
yes, Captain Logun is quite big. If you're familiar with him listening to this, he's quite big in the Sea of Thieves world. He actually has a character in the game named after him, a skeleton captain that you can go and hunt down and kill. So he is very big, a lot of fun. We had a good time talking to him. So that is in the middle of the episode following big news in gaming. Additionally, we are sponsored by Loot Crate. My Loot Crates have not yet arrived. I ordered them back in beginning of June, end of May, when we got the sponsorship. But, COVID. So they're supposed to come now by the end of July. So I'll open those when I get them. I got 3 coming. I accidentally didn't cancel one, so it reordered. So that's exciting. So, and I even checked the premium option to get, really nice collectible in the gaming one. So it's more expensive. So when I saw that, I'm like, fuck.
Of course it was that one.
I know. So if you guys want to support the show, you can check out the link for that. I think it's in the podcast description, and use the code Robots Radio for 15% off. It helps us out. Podcast website will be up soon. Patreon, I ordered your rewards so that you have those coming. More announcements and news at the end of the episode. Big news. Fortnite is out of early access. After how many years?
I don't even know at this point.
It says 3 years, but I feel like that's a lie. Like, 2017 seems too soon. I feel like Fortnite's been out way longer than that, but go ahead. I heard the...
Yeah, I inhaled so much just because I feel like this thing has been torturing and looming over my head for longer than 3 years.
Yeah, 2017 just doesn't seem right, but I guess so. So Fortnite began as a save the world game mode where it focused on... Oh, no. Yeah, 2017 is right. Focus on Save the World, which was like building forts to fight off waves of enemies. And then eventually they jumped on the Battle Royale bandwagon after the success of PUBG in 2017. And here we are ever since. So now they are officially out of early access, whatever that means for Fortnite.
Yeah. It seems like the stupidest announcement ever.
Really does.
Because they're on like season 7, right?
Yeah, and unfortunately too, they're not changing some things like the Save the World portion will not be also free to play. You have to pay for that. So it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Fortnite is weird. I have mixed feelings about it. Which, their player counts have been going down too. Their revenue's been dropping. And they're trying to like do different things. Like they're doing some cool things to a video game in general, like doing those in-game concerts and then in-game movie screenings. Like I'm gonna give Epic credit. That's pretty fucking creative for a game.
It is.
And I did watch the Travis Scott like astronomical like in-game
concert
thing, and it was cool. It was cool. So I give him credit for doing new and different things, but what is next for Fortnite is the big question.
It's imminent death.
Fingers crossed. Additionally, Amazon Games is really just blowing it on their debut. They released Crucible, a free-to-play. I guess the best way to describe it is it's like Overwatch. It's like their version of Overwatch. And it was like a hero-based free-to-play like team shooter. And it came out in end of May, beginning of June, and it was open beta. Anyone can play it, and they had a whole roadmap that they were going to keep going. But after a hot minute, it pretty much lost all steam, and they have since closed the beta. So you can no longer play Crucible unless you were previously part of it from now until official release. So really kind of stifles. I feel like it really stifles the development of the game if they're basing it on how the players are going to play it. But now you have a extremely limited player base in a game that needs a lot of work. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens about that, where it goes from there in the future. And then additionally, the much anticipated New World MMO from Amazon, which was originally scheduled to come out in May, and they pushed it back because of COVID to August. However, I guess they've been having some issues in their testing, and so they are pushing it back to April-ish of next year. So pretty hefty pushback, but they say the reason for that is so they can do a substantial open beta period, so they can get more testing and results. So
you'll be able to play that game August 25th, just as an open beta for a moment, and then they'll close it off, obviously, and then make their revisions to the game.
So it'll be good to see. I've been waiting to see what that game will be like, so it'll be nice that I can taste it before I have to pay for it. So yeah, expect to see some of that. And then last time, I almost said last week, but it's been a hot minute. We talked about Cards Against Humanity having their little internal meltdown, and they have since started to unionize. So the Cards Against Humanity Workers United Union. Good Lord.
Yep.
What a name. Which makes me wonder, like, how many employees do they have? Like, I feel like
they seem to have a lot at this point because of all the expansions. So you have to have a creative writers team. You have to have like a legal team, right? I
still feel like they're less than 25 people. Like
no way. They have to have. I bet you they have a few writers, a few people. I don't even know what. They probably don't have anyone for ethical decisions. That was kind of the thing that they were upset about.
So, yeah, so they're unionizing and they express their intentions over Twitter, and hopefully, and their goal and hope is that they will remodel the company into a more, or I guess a less toxic environment, and continue to grow it from there. So we'll see what happens.
I would really laugh if they had like 5 people in the graphics department or something like that.
Just, man, we need this shade of black. A game with no pictures, but they need a graphics department to.
Yes.
They just have a
The
font.
the font,
Good Lord.
fantastic.
Good Lord. Additionally, Ubisoft has also made a statement regarding their internal change. And so they have their CEO, Yves Guillemot, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He's French. Basically, the whole thing outlined a whole bunch of just a general overview of a whole bunch of things they're going to try and do, including questionnaires, listening sessions. They're just trying to be more open and transparent and give opportunities for people to express their voices. Whether or not that actually works or does anything is an entirely different story, but at least they are proactively taking steps to address it. And that included them actually firing a lot of their top management, like a lot of their, head corporate teams, people that have been, with Ubisoft since the beginning, people that employees felt were untouchable have been let go due to issues within the company. So, granted, those people probably got sizable severance packages, but, that's, that aside, it's still the right direction that they're like, clearly what was happening before is not working. Let's clean house.
It's kind of crazy, just because a long time ago when we were doing this podcast, there was talk about unionization in gaming and how, developers do not have any protection. And now we're starting to see with George Floyd and all these other things going on in the Black Lives Movement, I feel like all of a sudden, things are coming out more and video games are starting to be more inclusive, and I guess take some more responsibility. Like, yeah, these are human beings. We should all just kind of like listen to each other.
Well, I think another thing too is that, employees are starting to retaliate because they are being hurt and they aren't being listened to. And so some are retaliating by leaking content of the game. They don't necessarily want to leak content of the game, but you can sure as shit bet that, it quickly gets, management's attention when early footage is out there ahead of time, which, speaking of that, Assassin's Creed gameplay got leaked a week prior to when we were supposed to see it at Ubisoft Forward. So we got to see all sorts of elements of the game. And the simplest way I can describe it before it got taken down, a lot of it got taken down. The simplest way I can describe it is it's like The Witcher meets Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's very RPG-like. There's lots of voice options. There is, combat looks pretty dang solid. So much customization. And I found out a little fun fact too, is you are not locked into male or female Ivor. You can change the gender of your character at any time, at any point during the game, and it affects nothing of the gameplay.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so at some point you might be like, oh, I want to see what it's like playing female Ivor instead of male, and rather than like an Odyssey where you have two separate storylines depending on if you play Cassandra or Alexios, you don't have that anymore. So that's cool.
I like that because sometimes I want to switch my character around that much, and I just hate sometimes being locked into that. But you can change everything. Like, you can go from an afro to being completely bald to having a beard in like less than 2 seconds, but I can't change anything else about it. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, which, female Ivor, fucking badass looking.
So cool.
So we're not going to talk too much about what we saw because Ubisoft Forward happened on Sunday. And so I wanted to include that in this episode, but we have a lot of stuff because we were gone. So that will be the primary focus of next week's episode. So come back for Ubisoft Forward. We'll be talking all about that stuff. Additionally, Twitch is just back in the spotlight again. One of the most prominent streamers since the beginning of Twitch and a top World of Warcraft player, Byron Reckful Bjornsson, passed away. He unfortunately committed suicide 2 weeks ago, and he was a big name in the Twitch community as well as World of Warcraft. They even held a in-game World of Warcraft memorial for him. And Blizzard even issued a statement about it too. So very sad to see. Unfortunately, it's I feel like just it's a prevalent problem in not just gaming, music, but entertainment, but just life in general. So there's resources out there if you're struggling. It might seem like the hardest thing in the moment, but asking someone for help is the best thing you could do.
And there's probably not very many people that are going to reject you if you come to them for help in this sort of situation. So I would hope and like to believe that most people have a sense of ethics and care for one another. So you'd be surprised how many people care for you if you feel down.
Yeah. So don't be afraid. There's plenty of resources out there for you. Additionally, Twitch has finally banned Say No to Rage after the recent harassment and assault allegations against him. They did nothing about it, and he even came back to start streaming again after a brief period, to a point which he even started blaming the people accusing him, saying you did this to me. He's talking about how he's lost all these followers and viewers and it's affecting his income and all that. And he went on to blame, you guys are doing this to me. You are destroying my life, which is completely delusional.
Right.
You destroyed your own life by harassing and assaulting these people. And you're just now paying for the consequences years later. So, it was nice to see that he was banned. Yeah, small token of justice. He still got YouTube and Trovo and Facebook gaming. He could go anywhere else.
Okay, Facebook gaming, really? Did you just say that? That's a thing?
It's still an option for him. Additionally, not going to talk too much about this, but XQC, Alinity, Ninja, and Ninja's wife have been in, I guess, an argument, a virtual argument over some stuff, and it's just not. It just doesn't even feel like it's worth talking about. They're just all talking shit on each other and saying mean things, and just I think Ninja got involved because his wife Jessica was involved in it, so he stepped in to defend his wife, which I feel bad for that.
We
good on him.
feel bad for Ninja in a way because she's terrifying. There's no way.
Good for him, defending your wife, but damn, that sucks that you're having to defend your wife in a fucking Twitter argument.
What has this life become?
So, it had to do with some events that happened during some streams, and particularly a charity stream, and
who fights over a charity stream?
Well, because apparently they were accusing Jessica Blevins of living off of Ninja's fame and success, and the amount of money she spends, and Ninja stepped in to defend the work she does and all the money they've raised for charity. I
am in half of a belief that she runs literally every aspect of his life. So,
she 100% does. But at the same time, sure, he's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity. Great. Other people donated money. My question is how much you've donated.
Yeah.
Especially when you're making millions and millions of dollars. So it's, it just makes me think of that one meme of the people you hear Walt Disney Company, we're donating $5 million to, Black Lives Matters organizations. Well, that's great. But, when you look at how much money the Walt Disney Company makes, that's not even
nothing.
A penny.
Yeah.
It makes me think of that Bill Gates meme of when someone gave him the check for $20,000, and it's the meme of the person wiping their forehead with a dollar bill, or the guy in the pool pouring bottled water on himself.
So ridiculous. That's a bonus. That's one bonus for a low tier employee.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
I would kill for a $20,000 bonus. Jesus.
Good Lord.
Additionally, I can't remember the author's name. Ernest Cline, the author of Ready Player One, has announced that the sequel is coming out this year, November 24th, titled Ready Player 2. If you have not read Ready Player One and you are an avid lover of video games, I highly recommend you read it. It's a very good book, really pulls on the nostalgia and takes a look at some of the things like where we're headed with gaming. So it's very relevant to today. Really well done. I am concerned, though, about the second book. I feel like Ready Player One was like a one-off hit. And then, because he wrote another book unrelated after that called like Armada, I think. And it was a total flop. So, you always got to be concerned when people write sequels, whether or not, especially unintended sequels.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it wasn't planned already, it could be really bad.
Yeah, you gotta be concerned that they're not gonna be able to maintain the same energy and the same thing as the first.
One of my favorite books is Ender's Game, and that's like a 3-part series. And the next, I hate the next one. What is
Speaker
it?
for the Dead.
Yes, I did not like the book. I couldn't get through it.
That was
it just wasn't the same.
That's like all the one the English teachers let you read.
Yeah, it was not good. I didn't like it.
High school, I went to read Speaker for Dead because it was like the extra credit book, and I ended up reading Ender's Game instead. And so I turned in a whole thing for Ender's Game. She's like, "Yeah, this book isn't on the list. It's too easy, too simple. It doesn't delve deep enough." So I was like, I did all this work and I read this great book. But Speaker for the Dead, it was okay. But it wasn't the same as Ender's Game for sure.
Yeah.
So I'll probably still read it. Have you read Ready Player One yet?
It's on my list. I'm still finishing books.
How are we doing on the Red Rising trilogy?
Red Rising trilogy, I am pretty much done with the second book, so that's good.
Okay. Got to get through the end of that and finish the third because we need to talk.
God, I know. I need to hurry up.
They're working on a TV show.
Don't do a movie. Don't.
TV show.
I could do TV show.
It was originally going to be a movie, and then it was changed to a TV show.
That's probably for the best.
It's gonna be if it's done right. And when I say done right, I'm talking like season 1 of Game of Thrones or Westworld, where
right, that's what I was thinking.
Expertly written, expertly acted, expertly cast. It's gonna be fucking killer show.
Addicting. It's gonna be annoying because it's gonna be the same thing as Witcher, where it's like you've loved Witcher for so long. That game came out like a million years, like 2011, right?
13.
Witcher 3. Oh, okay, 2013. And like now, all of a sudden, everyone's like, "Oh, Geralt," because Henry Cavill is the guy doing it. But
I actually think
he's awesome.
Actually, it might have been 2015.
Is it really?
2015.
You might. Oh, yeah. There you go.
I was wrong.
Either way.
Because I always, whenever I think of Witcher 3, I have to think of the Game Awards. Because it was the same year as Phantom Pain, which is the year they won. And I wanted Phantom Pain to win, and they beat out Phantom Pain. So, anyway, that does it for big news. We will now log into the chat room with our special guest, Captain Logun. Hey everybody, welcome to the chat room. This week with us we have none other than the one and only Captain Logun from the Keelhauled Sea of Thieves podcast. Welcome, Captain. At some point I am going to make a what's the Tom Hanks Somali Pirates movie? Captain Phillips. At some point I'm going to make a captain joke. It's going to happen. But welcome, man. Thanks for joining us, and welcome to the Robots Network. You're one of our the most recent shows to join.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a real great time joining up. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun so far. Great people so far.
Yeah, we're stoked to have you. You're a
I like
big
you
name.
said so far. Great people so far.
You haven't had any problems yet, but you're keeping the door open just in case.
I play with a bunch of pirates all the time, so I'm open to betrayal. I just always wait and see like how things go, because calm waters never made a good pirate. So you gotta find out like how people are later on. I'm okay with a little betrayal.
Yeah, you never know when mutiny is brewing until it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of pirates, we're gonna talk about some pirate stuff. So, obviously, as a fan of Sea of Thieves, a pirate game, what would you like to see in the future from the pirate genre? Surprisingly, it's a pretty small genre. There's not too many games out there. And most of them are in various stages of early access. So we have Sea of Thieves, which is one of the more established ones. But Black Wake is out there, which is almost basically like Sea of Thieves. Naval Action is one of my favorites. That's going for much more of a very realistic sailing one. But supposedly this next week, we might get to see a look at Skull and Bones, which Ubisoft has been talking about for years based on the Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but it's going to be kind of like a Sea of Thieves version. So, having played Sea of Thieves for so much, what would you love to see more in Sea of Thieves, or what would you love to see in maybe a new pirate game?
I would love to see a game similar to how Assassin's Creed Black Flag is, where there's a narrative driven around the idea of piracy. One of the things that Sea of Thieves does great is it gives you a sandbox for what you want to do, whenever you want to do it, how you want to do it. It doesn't matter. Any way you play is the right way to play, as long as you're enjoying yourself and you're not being like a negative impact to the community. The thing that Sea of Thieves does great is sailing. It feels amazing to sail around. It feels amazing to shoot cannons and stuff. The thing I would love to see out of Sea of Thieves is maybe a Sea of Thieves 2, where in the game, every game has boundaries. It's either rocks or an invisible wall or something that you can't move past. In Sea of Thieves, that is kind of made in the sense that there's a shroud that damages ships anytime you go into it. So you can sail into the shroud, but at a certain point, the shroud is going to destroy your ship to the point where you'll just be stuck in the water and the sharks will catch you. I would love to see a new set of 3 oceans that have new biomes. Because right now we've got one that's kind of a dark, desolate one. It's called a wild. It's very overbearing, and emotionally you feel like you're kind of trapped in this area. And then you've got 2 areas which are more kind of Mayan, Incan, ancient isles. And then you've got like the typical kind of Nassau Pirates of the Caribbean, Caribbean style seas. And then you've got the Devil's Roar, which is just nothing but volcanoes and ash and boulders and death.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see something that's like a closer to an Asian aesthetic. I'd love to see something that's more like a swampy, morose kind of area where there's tribal kind of people that are there that you have to worry about. Variants on enemies and things like that. Like I would love to see what new biomes would look like in Sea of Thieves. Like if there was an ice biome that the longer your ship stood still, the more ice would form up around the base, and you'd have to go out there with your shovel or your gun or a powder keg, and you'd have to break up the ice so that you could get your ship free. Pull more from like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, where you want to try and actually give players varying experiences based on the location, and then let them play around with the world and see what weird things they come up with.
Do you want to develop games? Because I would play that.
That was, yeah. You hit on so many things that I thought of too. And I have to say, one of my favorite aspects about Sea of Thieves is it's one of the few pirate games, probably one of the only, that really incorporates a lot of the mystery and supernatural aspects of pirate games. Like we have skeletons, we have ghost ships, we have giant sea monsters, like a lot of stuff that was, mermaids. We have a lot of stuff that's, stories that pirates told or things that people believed about the world that you don't really ever see in other games. Like they kind of talk about it, like in Assassin's Creed, they kind of mention, some of that stuff. But it's one of the few games, and it's absolutely terrifying, when, our crew were just sailing the seas and all of a sudden the music starts picking up and we're like, where's the megalodon? Where's the megalodon? You're looking around for something, and then it's maybe not a megalodon, and all of a sudden a giant ship just rises out of the water next to you, and you're like, oh well, fuck,
Yeah.
Everybody man the deck, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sea of Thieves does a great job. Like you said, the sailing is fantastic. I love the response to the wheel, that when you get to the different size ships that you have to make more corrections or more steering or understeering depending on. I would love to see more players and crews. I feel like the galleon is really big for 4 people to kind of run around and manage, especially if you're having to run below decks to make repairs and things. But yeah, you hit on a lot of it. I'd love to see an Asian aesthetic. Piracy in, the South Pacific was, absolutely insane, just because it was such a thoroughfare for British traders, with tea, opium, all that. So that would be very cool. But yeah, I'm hoping that Skull and Bones will bridge Assassin's Creed and Sea of Thieves, that they've had enough time to see how Sea of Thieves was received, that they can kind of integrate that. But yeah, I'd love to see more maybe like an MMO kind of style, where there's more ships, more customization, but there's a living, breathing storytelling world that you can interact with, pick up quests, missions, bury loot, maybe even build your own little pirate outpost on an island. Stuff like that would be
cool.
Yeah, would be very cool.
I know one of the things that a lot of people that played Sea of Thieves were asking for when the game was still kind of in its infancy, aside from more content, a lot of folks had a hard time grabbing onto the horizontal progression, where everyone is the same power level regardless of when you jump into the game. Experience is what makes the difference of a pirate, which I feel still to this day is one of the best approaches for a game in a world online that's session based. If you're not going to have a persistent online world like an MMO, having horizontal progression is a great way to live with that. But one of the things that a lot of people asked for was definitely they wanted to feel an increase in power. They wanted to feel like their time spent on the seas had increased the capacity for them to turn sharper or get more value out of sails, or hit harder with bigger cannons and have stronger shots as far as their weapons go. And the thing that Skull and Bones promises is more of a ship-to-ship battle aspect, something that really kind of leans into that Black Flag aesthetic that gives you the option to really customize a lot of different things on your crew. The thing that I wonder, going into how long they've been silent, because we know they've still been developing it. We know that they took a lot of notes from Sea of Thieves, and it sounded like, from what I've been told from people closer to the matter, is they wanted to try and build out an actual narrative for the story, that a PvP only game wasn't going to cut it when you look at something like Sea of Thieves and how it's an open world simulator where you just do whatever you want and create your own story. They wanted to have a reason for people to jump in there if they didn't want to just have a 5v5 ship battle out on the seas. So I'm hoping that they're leaning into that. It's something that I think Atlas tried and failed at. Atlas tried to give you the opportunity to build your own town, and it's cool if you jump into a giant guild and you have hundreds of people working together to build a fort on an island. But if you're 5 people, there's no way that game is going to cater to you. It's just it's not how those games work, unfortunately. So I have hopes for Skull and Bones. I think the aesthetic is amazing. I think it looks awesome. I just hope that there's something more to do than just PvP, because that's what I enjoyed about the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, was there was a story to it, and it was pirates, but you cared about the characters and you wanted to see what was going to happen to them.
Yeah. Any thoughts you have, Brenna?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many like indie games out there already that are like PvP type style, Navy ships, things like that. I mean, there's tanks out there for everything. And so, yeah, I think I definitely love more of a storyline. And I've said this before with Jamie, it's the games that I absolutely love have to have a storyline in it. Don't get me wrong, like I love my skate games, I love, first person shooters, but they're never going to be my, oh my god, I had a life-changing moment playing this game. because there isn't anything to it. So yeah, I want to latch on to something.
Yeah.
And I love Sea of Thieves. I think it's a ton of fun. But the thing that I latch onto the most is the fact that you can play instruments in harmony, and it makes me giggle. It makes me very happy. Being on the open sea and everyone just kind of doing it. And I think, what did we played instruments together, and we just sat there as a whole crew for like 5 minutes, and no one said anything. Like no one said anything. It was just playing, and we're like staring out at the water. And I was like, man, this is so peaceful, and I love that from a game. But
and
yeah,
I really
want to connect.
I really enjoyed that in Assassin's Creed too. How sometimes you just be sailing and then the crew would start singing a shanty. And my all-time favorite shanty is "Drunken Sailor." I used to sing that all the time when I worked at a Boy Scout camp that was based on a lot of pirate history. So I love that song. I love that aesthetic. Are you familiar with Naval Action?
Not so much, no.
It's a pretty ambitious project from a small Russian studio, and so they partnered with a bunch of the I think it's the Royal Naval Library or something like that in London, but it's the largest like ship historian collection, I guess, in the world. And so they partner with them to create realistic ships and it's almost like a pirate sailing simulator. So you're given the whole Caribbean. There's no mini map or anything. You have a map, you have a compass. So if you want to find your bearings, you gotta use it based on points in the world. But it's and the thing I appreciate about it is it gives you that power building. Like you can build a fleet, you could get higher level ships all the way up to men of war. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to experience. So sure, I can have that powerful ship, but if I'm up against someone who's equally master, even a little bit less than me, but if they take the winds better, if they fire their cannons better, if they plan their routes of attack, they can still win the day. And so I appreciate that about Naval Action, that it still has that core thing of you can upgrade, you can get power, but at the end of the day, experience is what is king. So
yeah, I think that's what really makes a big difference between a good pirate game and a bad pirate game is if you have the experience, if you know how to approach a ship and you know how to get a good broadside with the wind, and there's so many aspects to sailing that a lot of people don't know about, and a lot of games tend to be forgiving in that aspect. But you're right, it's experience more than anything else that really comes down to what makes a good pirate or a bad pirate.
And recently, one of my favorite moments in Sea of Thieves is we had the brigantine, and there was 3 of us playing, and we got the Reaper chest, which, as you know, marks you on the map when you have it. And so we're trying to make our way to the Reaper Island, but we are being pursued by a fully crewed galleon that sank us several times this previous session. And so we maybe sailed for an hour and a half trying to lose them. And the winds just weren't in our favor to make it to the island to sell it. So we were just tacking back and forth, doing anything we could to just keep the distance on them. And then eventually it got to a point where they were closing, and I was like, we need to make a play. And I just went, full port. We turned, grabbed the wind, and we just pulled. It was so much fun. We pulled a crazy maneuver. We dodged 2 ships. There was another ship that was trying to come in on us, and we managed to make it to the island and sell it before they got to us. But it was some of the most fun I'd ever had, and it was literally just an hour and a half just of a chase, which that's very core to me for pirate games.
Yeah, and I was actually just about to ask you what your craziest moment or something that you just recognized from the game that you absolutely loved.
Oh man, that's tough when you're asking a guy that's been playing for 2.5 years.
Right? I was like, okay, so your most recent one or something. I don't know, because I'm sure you have a ton.
One of the best moments I think I ever had was I've got a group of friends that I play with late at night, and we're pretty aggressive when it comes to piracy. We tend to go out and we tend to hunt down other ships fairly frequently because that's the kind of action that they like. I'm pretty flexible because I'm so into all the aspects of the game. and we were sailing over to one of the larger forts, one of the special forts called the Fort of the Damned, where you have to set it up. There's a larger reward involved if you complete it, but it's a lot harder. And there's a giant red cloud in the sky that says, hey, by the way, someone's working on this, and you might want to go attack them. So we headed over to that fort, and we sunk the ship that was there, took the treasure, and as we were loading up the treasure, we had 2 other brigantines and a galleon sail in on us. And there was a fight that took place where it was us versus 3 other ships, and we were just trying to stay alive at this point. Like, we were trying to take them out, but with the staggered arrival and the skill of the people that I was with, we slowly started to pick away at the numbers, and we managed to knock down 3 ships, plus the returning original crew that we had stolen loot for in the first place. And the galleon that we sank was a fairly competent crew, and we could tell that they were streamers as well too. So after we had battled them, we found out that they had been hoarding a bunch of treasure on their ship, and they weren't anticipating a good crew to be able to take them out, especially one that was one person down on crew number. So after we had sunk all of the crew and managed to scoop up all the treasure that they had, plus the supplies that they had left in their storage crates, we sailed off and headed over to the Reaper's hideout and turned in all of that treasure and managed to rank up. I think it was like 10 levels that night, just based off of all the junk that we had taken from other people. And after we had sank everyone on that server and turned in all the stuff, we got server merged. And usually when you get merged onto a different server, it's because the rest of the server has cleared out and you're the last crew on the server. So we had effectively forced every other crew to either quit out or rage quit as a result of this 30-minute battle outside of one of the forts, where we took on the entire server effectively at the same time, and they were all gunning for us. It was absolutely insane, and I don't know how we survived it, but that was one of the best fights I'd ever had.
That's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Nothing in that
good.
game. Nothing in that game stresses me out more than when we're on an island looting and digging up treasure and stuff, and you're carrying your goods back and forth from the island to your ship, and you just see those sails on the horizon. You're just like, oh man, they're coming. You just start yelling at everybody like, back to the ship, like.
yeah, that's great.
So with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to dive into the 60-second download. So Brenna's going to ask you a series of questions. You will have 60 seconds on the clock. Try and answer as quickly as you can. Let me go ahead. I have the stopwatch ready. First thing that comes to your mind. Try not to think about it too much.
Oh no, this could be
I know,
bad.
right? Yeah.
What's the rating of the show?
He just blurts out something. Oh my god, we gotta cut him off. Hold on.
Don't worry. We have a disclaimer at the beginning. We are M for mature.
He's all hentai. No, wait, no, I take that back.
There's a question that has consistently stopped people. Yeah. So we'll see if you can get past that. All right, Brenna.
Okay.
Yep. Count me down.
3, 2, 1, go.
Favorite childhood game?
Super Mario Brothers.
Favorite current game?
Sea of Thieves.
Your go-to gaming snack or drink?
Oreos.
All right, your gaming crush?
I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, Princess Zelda.
Okay.
All right. Console or PC?
PC.
RGB or no RGB?
RGB.
All right. Who is your gaming companion? Example, a pet.
That would be my former cat, Miley Moo, or just Moo.
Favorite gaming system of all time?
Ooh, the Nintendo GameCube.
Favorite content creator?
That would have to be, oh gosh, that's a loaded question. I can't believe you asked me that. Let's go with Hossast for now.
And
Casual,
that's time.
All right. Go ahead and explain your content creator, because that's like my favorite question, just because obviously we're content creators in a way, like we don't stream or anything, but we are providing things, and I like hearing about other content creators.
So Hot Sauce he's a fun dude. I met him through a Nintendo Discord where all he did was just kind of link his Twitch. And one night he was linking a Twitch to a stream that he was playing Overwatch, and I was a fan of, or I still am a fan of Overwatch. And I jumped into a stream, and I got to talking with him and found out that he's a big FPS shooter. He plays FPSs all the time, and I don't. I'm terrible at them. In fact, I'm probably one of the worst people you could probably have on your team when it comes to an FPS. I just never grew up with them. I grew up with MMOs and action adventure games. So he has been like a brother to me when it comes to taking me down the road of what are good shooters, how can I improve, and the content that he puts out is always content that is real. Like, he just plays games. He welcomes anyone to join. He gets frustrated on stream, and he gets upset at things. So there's never a time where I feel like he's trying to put on a show. So when he streams, I always feel like I'm getting to see the real him. And one of these days, I just hope that I get a chance that we actually get to meet up and hang out, because he's one of the few people that I would consider a good friend on a distant basis, where we haven't gotten to meet up yet. But he's one of the salt of the earth people that I think a lot of people should be paying attention to. But his work and family life prohibit him from being like a full-time streamer. But he has so much passion that it's nice to have a friend like that.
Wow.
Very
So
cool.
everyone go watch Hot Sauce. Help this guy out.
Very cool. Very cool. Alrighty. Well, as we wind down here, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about Keelhauled, any episodes that might be coming up or episodes that just aired, as well as share with us, any social media, Twitch, whatever.
Yeah, so I am the owner and host of the Keelhauled podcast. It's a Sea of Thieves podcast. It's been running since before the game launched. I'm closing in on 2.5 years right now, and if you have any interest in Sea of Thieves, if you saw it on Game Pass or you saw it on Steam and you just want to check it out, ever since 2020 came out, I've been having a lot of guests from the community. All of them are awesome, and all of them bring something unique to the community. The Sea of Thieves community is probably one of the best communities I've ever seen in a game. It's the most welcoming. And all of the episodes that I've done have all been news, as well as tips or story bits or upcoming things. So if you're trying to understand like what's going on with the game, I'm there for you. I'm there to keep you up to date on the things to keep aware of outside the game and inside the game, so you don't miss out on fun things like free cosmetics or fun contests. The latest episode I did was just about the photography in the game, and how Sea of Thieves is running a contest to earn sales, just so that you can actually present to people like, hey, I won a contest and these are the sales that I got. So if you're into gametography, there's a great episode that just came out with Captain Balzania about how to actually take really good photos in games. And Sea of Thieves is one of those games that you want to take photos of.
I wholeheartedly agree.
If you want to get a hold of me outside of that, you can always hit me up on Twitter at CAPT_LOGUN. You can always email me at CAPTLOGUN@gmail.com. I'm just Captain Logan on just about anything, but with a U instead of an A, because I got to be that guy.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. I feel like we had a great conversation today. I need a new pirate game. I love Sea of Thieves, but I'm ready for the next generation.
Yeah.
So thank you again so much for joining us.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back, everybody, from the chat room. That was a fun conversation we had with Logan. He was a good guy. I love doing this guest segment. I know you're gonna say I say that every week, so fuck you. I probably do.
It's fantastic.
Doesn't change the fact that he's a good guy.
This is true.
But yeah, that was fun. I really do love doing these little guest segments. It's probably the highlight out of our episodes. I get to talk to
Sometimes
someone other than you.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Sometimes it can get pretty boring just being next to this guy. So
there is nothing boring about us. We actually last week was like the first time since quarantine started that we got to do like a traditional like game hangout session. And woof, how quickly we returned to old habits.
So we played golf with friends, and I made a hole-in-one and proceeded to run around my entire fucking apartment screaming, "Go!"
It was good stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe we watched the Deadliest Warrior and The Cut, like classic TV shows.
So good.
Classic. Anyway, before I get too sidetracked, news you might have missed. A lot of it this week. So Tencent is currently developing their own cyberpunk game called Syn, SYN. And it will be a open world cyberpunk FPS that is also cross-platform. So it will be for PC and console and integrated. And they are working with Lightspeed and Quantum Studios, both of which had worked for PUBG. And they are using the Unreal game engine. So it looks interesting. We aren't big fans of Tencent, but
no, not even a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see what the final product will look like. If it's a good game, I probably will play it because Cyberpunk is awesome. Additionally, Tencent is also in the works to acquire the gaming company Leyou, who also make Warframe, which is a incredibly popular free-to-play game on Steam and console. So that would be another big acquisition by Tencent if they are able to acquire that. They're just buying fucking up.
I hate it. They're honestly like Disney, buying literally everything.
Yeah, but Disney tends to buy things and make them good.
Right.
With the exception of Star Wars. They kind of fucked Star Wars up. But at the same time, that was indirectly not their fault. It's EA's fault, and it's Rian Johnson's fault.
I was going to say, it's definitely EA.
Which I've heard that Disney is considering removing Star Wars episodes 8 and 9 from canon.
Fantastic.
Like they're just going to pretend that it didn't happen.
I would love that.
Because audiences are so divided about it. And I don't know how anyone could be divided about either of those movies. They're just fucking terrible movies. Like they aren't
even... If you don't follow Star Wars, then they're good movies to you.
Oh, not even. I watched the final movie, Rise of Skywalker. I sat down to watch it. I'm like, I am not going to think about Star Wars at all. I'm going to watch this purely as a lover of movies. And it was terrible. Terrible acting, terrible writing. Just, it was bad. I could rant about this.
You
want
to wrap them on the nose with a newspaper. Bad.
Yeah, seriously. It was just, which, I'm more lenient about Rise of Skywalker because JJ came back to try and clean up the mess that was Last Jedi, Episode 8, but bad. Yeah. And then EA is obviously, screwed their pooch, which they have 3 years. EA has 3 years left on their contract to make Star Wars games. And they've announced that they have 4 games in development.
They're just going to bleed it dry.
I don't know.
Ruin the name. Anyways.
I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm super looking forward to Star Wars Squadrons. I think that's going to be an absolutely fantastic
That'll be
game.
An easy one to do, too.
Yeah. So, moving up. If you like those chill, relaxing games, then you should check out Lake. It's the game for you. It is set in Providence Oaks, Oregon in 1986. And Lake is a incredibly pretty, chill-looking game where you deliver mail and get to know the town's quirky locals. Yes, it is a post office simulator.
I kind of want to play it, like a lot. I kind of a lot want to play it.
When are you going to stream, Brenna?
I have to get my Streamlabs is so broken. I'm very concerned.
Yeah, we need to do some diagnostics on that. But yeah, hopefully we'll get you up and streaming here within a month or two once things kind of return to normal, semi-normal, however normal they can be.
Whatever that means anymore.
Seriously.
But it's beautiful. It looks like fun. Go play it.
Yeah, check it out. Additionally, Andy McNamara. It's a tough last name.
Nice job.
Well, it's tough when you have the Mick and then it goes straight into another consonant. But yeah, I butchered that. So unfortunately, he has left Game Informer as editor-in-chief. He has worked for Game Informer since it first opened in 1991, and he spent most of that time as its editor-in-chief. 3 years. He worked for it for 3 years before he got promoted to editor-in-chief. And he's 29 years. Crazy. And he has left. He wrote a nice little letter. It was good to read. Unfortunately, Game Informer's kind of been on its way down with GameStop struggling. But
yeah, and there's plenty of other, news outlets and things like that that are far better. And I liked having the magazines. I still get them sometimes, but with everything being online and it's hard.
Well, and him leaving Game Informer to me is the equivalent of Jason Schreier leaving Kotaku. It's like, what is Game Informer now without him?
Yeah.
And he stated in his goodbye letter that he will not pursue any more jobs in video game journalism. He's done. He's moving on to something new and else. And he actually ended up at EA. He is the head of EA's PR department, I guess now. So he's responsible for all of their communications with the public now. So good for him. That's a prestigious job, and maybe maybe he will have a positive impact on EA. That's all we can hope for.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be great.
Additionally, we have some more Last of Us 2 news. Game just doesn't seem to leave the news.
It's not sitting right.
No, it has. It's just there's so many controversial opinions, and while the game's reviews are better now, audiences are still pretty divided. It's and I think it's really something that's going to hang over at the Game Awards. Like I feel like if Last of Us 2 wins, there's going to be a huge uproar if it wins Game of the Year.
I think a lot of the video game community are very conservative, and they don't like the fact that there are certain more liberal, I guess, ideas in The Last of Us 2. And I think that's putting a big hamper on it and distracting from the fact that, the mechanics are great. The storyline needs some work, but it looks beautiful.
That's people's chief complaint is the storyline. Yes, the anti-LGBTQ stuff shows up everywhere, but the dominating complaint is the direction the story went. So I don't know.
Now people are pissed off because there's buff women.
Buff women are the best. If you aren't into buff women, you're missing out.
It's so ridiculous. People can be so threatened by the fact that there's a muscular person. It doesn't even have to be anything. I've seen other gamers get pissed off because the main character is too big. I'm like, you know what?
Well,
just stop being insecure.
For the most part, people just hated Abby just because of what she did in the game. They hated her more for that than what she looks like. But it's probably the first and maybe only game that I've seen that's actually depicted a incredibly fit woman, which also begs the question: if you're in the apocalypse, how the fuck are you that fit, and how the fuck do you maintain being that fit? Where are you finding the time to do your powerlifting?
They could be really fucking up zombies. Who knows?
They could be. But now that, Abby is out there, it's like it's making people think, is like, how do you depict, a buff woman in video games? Because usually it's one or the other. It's either super feminine, and with all the looks that go on with that, or super masculine. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't there be a buff woman who is also feminine? And I'm trying to think of, there's another game that I've read something about this that made a good point talking about it. But it's like, you see it all the time in movies. It's like, whenever you have a strong female lead, they're always super masculine.
And
Why
really
do they?
abrasive.
Yeah,
Like, why are they
have
always
to?
super abrasive? Like, what is
I
the
don't know.
Michelle Rodriguez in every single movie she has ever been in? Why? Like, why?
Yeah. Which, it's caused a lot of people to start posting like pictures of CrossFit women. And so people are like now like discovering CrossFit women. I'm like, you have no idea what you're getting into.
Yeah, seriously.
So, yeah, I would definitely like to see more diversity when it comes to women in video games. And I would just like to see better writing for women in video games.
Yeah.
Let's move away from the, stereotypical norms of movies, which Last of Us has done a good job with, but,
It didn't get received too well. But I love how in Siege it's like, you have these really skinny characters that are kind of feminine, and then you got thick bitch, and that's pretty much it.
You know what? Siege does a good job about keeping some of the femininity in the female operators who are, in a very masculine job. And, some of them are, fucking ripped, and some of them are incredibly gorgeous. And they, at the end of the day, they will both fuck you up.
As much as I hate Clash, they are masculine but still look feminine at the same time, and they're police and they're black and they're doing this and X, Y, and Z. So yeah, they do a good job with certain things, but yeah.
Yeah, so nice little tangent there. Additionally, Blink 182, Mark Hoppus did a cover of Damn It using the in-game Last of Us 2 guitar feature. And holy fuck, does he just slay it.
On it. Yeah.
What? That little feature has quickly become like one of the most popular things about Last of Us 2. So, good on him.
Hilarious. It's always the little things.
It's always the little things. Discord has make it stop.
What is going on?
Make it stop.
I'm trying. Okay.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened with me. I paused it real fast though. So Discord has abandoned its gamer first approach in hoping to rebrand themselves to become more of a general purpose chat app like Skype, rather than cater specifically to gamers like TeamSpeak. I have no issues with this. Discord's a fantastic service. They continue to provide excellent service. So I'm fine with it. Their new slogan, though, however, is "Your place to talk." It's a little on the nose, but
yeah. It seems like a really, what it seems like a Portal ad, like a Portal 2 ad, where it's just like everything's broken down and running, and it's some terrible, therapist office or something like that, and it's like one of those robots.
Yeah, which the U.S. Army, we talked about this last year. They started an esports team as a method to recruit people to, be in the Army. And recently, it's been getting a lot of traction on Twitch and Discord as people attempt to see how quickly they can get banned from the Discord and the Twitch by asking questions about various war crimes committed by the United States and specifically the U.S. Army. So it's just in general, just basically protesting their, I guess, abuse of gaming as a recruitment tool. So it's interesting. The U.S. is obviously, the U.S. is obviously a heavy militaristic country, We always have been. It's, kind of just what happens when you are a newer country and you quickly become a world power is, you assert your dominance every fucking where you possibly can. And obviously we still continue to do that. Whether or not it's necessary is another question. But, there's been whenever there's war, shit's going to happen. And, things are going to happen that are not legal.
Jamie, get your stuff together.
He's
trying to be PC.
Well, no, it's because technically the Geneva I don't know. It's because it's the Geneva Convention. It's just a set of rules people agree to, so it's not really like laws. But
Okay, we're gonna talk about the Geneva Convention when we have like a million things left on this list.
Okay, basically, there's some shady shit that's happened. People are trying to call attention to it, and call out the army.
So good. That was perfect. That was really perfect. I like how you paraphrased there.
Thank you. A student threatened to bomb Konami in Japan. He's since been arrested. He just made some posts about it, and I don't think they found any bomb making materials. But
it's the stupidest thing ever. Why?
Crazy stuff. Halo is going to start implementing skins for your vehicles, weapons, and characters. I don't like it.
I agree.
Don't. I always appreciated that Halo had such in-depth customization with armor color and with emblems, but I like to leave it at that because it still made Halo feel like you were part of a future space military, but you were just these special soldiers. So you could customize your armor, but at the end of the day, you didn't really stand out that much. But now this is like we're entering Call of Duty point. However, I do appreciate that they are taking the right step, and it is a optional feature that users can enable or disable. So if you choose to disable it, you won't see any skins in game. So I appreciate that. So that's
really nice.
You can still maintain the Halo aesthetic. So good on them for that. Additionally, the Nier Automata director, Yoko Taro, has released a new fantasy game on mobile called Sino Alice. And I played a little bit of it, and it's interesting. It is very interesting. A very cool storytelling take. Something worth checking out, but it's like the setting is like a library, and you play as storybook characters like Alice in Wonderland, Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White, Cinderella, and they're all, wielding badass weapons, fighting monsters in an attempt to revive their author, in quotes. So it's very cool. If you're into those kind of games, go check it out. It's got a pretty interesting story, and obviously, Nier Automata was a fantastic game. Additionally, Fallout 76's seasons are off to a rough start as players try and play through the season pass to unlock the rewards, but are quickly finding out that might not be possible, that the score needed to achieve all the rewards is higher than the maximum number of points you could earn from completing all the possible challenges. So
how do you do that?
I don't know. Someone
how do you
miscalculated.
mess up that bad?
Unless they maybe have some bonus things that will get added in that you can make up the points. But still, it's a lot of points, and it's just rubbing people the wrong way. Additionally, they made some gameplay changes that are also just upsetting people, like this ammo converter. So that. But in big news, though, Amazon has announced that a Fallout TV series is now in development from the creators of the Westworld TV series. So we're bringing on some strong, writers and directors to the Fallout universe. It could be, I don't know. To me, it could go either way.
I don't have any hopes for this.
It could be really
be
good,
decent.
or it could be really bad.
I think it's going to be at the very least decent because of the writers that they have and the fact that Amazon is backing it. So they have money. They have money to do the production. They have decent writing. It could possibly be a good thing, but I don't think it's going to be very Fallout-like.
It's
It's
just
going to be set in the world, but it's not going to be Fallout.
and I wonder what story they're going to tell that basically hasn't already been told in Fallout. Like after Fallout 3, there really isn't much you can do to tell a different story. It's just a slightly different version of the game from a different place, but it's still the same thing. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. EVE Online staged a massive battle to honor a cancer patient. They had several, tens of thousands of ships show up to fight this battle in his honor to celebrate what will be his last birthday. So, gaming community, sometimes you really fucking do shit
EVE
right.
Online really does that. They do that a lot for their players.
Sometimes gamers, you're incredibly fucking toxic, and other times you're the kindest people I've ever met.
It's incredibly toxic.
Additionally, Forza has banned the Confederate flag from their game. So if you make it, they will kick you. So that's nice. Kellogg's is making a Minecraft cereal called Creeper Crunch. So all the little cereal pieces are in shapes of Minecraft. Maybe we'll do Maybe we'll do like the Irish. We'll get drunk and we'll do a taste test of like the Creeper Crunch.
I like it. I like it a lot. Maybe we can try and find some video game out. Bring it down with.
There we go. The indie game My Friend Pedro is getting adapted into a R-rated TV series, and it is going to be written by the writer of the John Wick series. So,
yeah, not bad.
People are starting to finally give video games the attention it needs. Like, don't give us half-assed, writers and stuff. They're bringing fucking people to this. And for those of you that are not,
maybe now they're realizing these games are making millions and millions of dollars. It's $1 billion industry. I mean, it's stupid.
It really is. And for those of you that are not familiar with My Friend Pedro, the game tells the story of a person who wakes up in a butcher shop where a banana named Pedro tells them about the secret and nasty operations of the butcher shop, and the banana teaches the player to commit murder.
So good.
I would fucking watch this TV show in a heartbeat, especially if there's any level of John Wick choreography. Whew!
Yep.
Fantastic. And I highly recommend checking out the game, My Friend Pedro. If you are a fan of RGB and can't get enough rainbow vomit in your life, well, now you can wear it. Champion has partnered with, I can't remember who, HyperX.
Yeah.
To make reflective clothing designed to capture the brilliance and reflect back the light back of its source. So basically, it's really reflective clothing that will reflect the RGB lights from your keyboard, mouse, and computer. Why?
Ridiculous.
Agreed. Additionally, the devs of LA Noire have started working on a AAA open world VR game for Rockstar. No update yet on what it might be, but it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Could have some potential. And we also got a random announcement this week. Kingdoms of Alamar Reckoning, which is a very popular RPG back in 2012. They are remastering it. And not only are they remastering it, they are releasing its first DLC expansion in almost 8 years, which will come out next year. Crazy.
Wow.
It's an incredibly popular RPG game. And I'm super excited that it's coming out. I will totally play the crap out of this. All right. Call of Duty last week secretly removed the OK sign, flashing OK. They removed it from the game. And because it's now considered, oh God. I hate when random videos play on links when I open them.
You don't know where they are.
Yep, I pause it, but whew. They removed it because someone made the joke a couple years ago that it's a hate symbol, and then hate groups made it a hate symbol, and now people take it seriously. It actually just means fucking okay.
Okay.
Scuba uses it to mean okay. The
Okay,
military
yeah.
uses it to mean okay. Fucking sign language, it means okay.
But
So,
yeah, a group. What is it? That was a few cops were doing that during the Black Lives Matter protests. Cops would hold it right there and laugh. Yeah,
ridiculous.
that was crazy.
Fuck you, random internet person that said it was a hate symbol. Like, I get you were making a joke, but people fucking can't tell if it's a joke or not on the internet. That's why Pepe the Frog is a hate symbol now. Good lord. The world we live in.
It's just because the internet's more popular. I remember when being from the internet meant something.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then lastly, we got to see a mock-up. PlayStation released a mock-up of what the boxes will look like for the PS5. And they just have a white bar up at the top that says PlayStation 5. That's pretty much the only major difference to it. So it looks nice. It looks clean. Looking forward to PS5 release date. We're still waiting to hear when it will open for pre-order and when it will officially release. But rumor is it weighs like a ton. Like, it's quite heavy.
Oh, really?
So,
yeah. I mean,
upcoming
it's a big unit in general.
Upcoming game release dates. This week we have Death Stranding and Rocket Arena coming out on the 14th. We also have Bounty Battle and Drake Hollow, Ghost of Tsushima, and Paper Mario Origami King. Pretty action-packed week. Not much else happening the rest of the summer. Expect me to play some Death Stranding on stream later this week. So tune in for that. I've been playing some Detroit Become Human. Such a fucking good game. Really good. Like, it's like an interactive TV show. So you like walk around and stuff, but it's a lot of dialogue. It's a lot of choices. And at the end of each like episode or chapter, it shows you all the options and where you ended up. And usually each chapter has multiple endings, and that affects the rest of your story where you start in the different episodes. But it doesn't tell you if you picked one. It doesn't show you what the one you didn't pick was, but it just shows you the number. So it's really quite cool. They could make a very good Westworld video game just like that, and it would be phenomenal. That does it for this week. We have bonus content. We are working through trying to get ready for you guys. It's kind of hard just with schedules kind of being all over the place. And Brenna's been making the most of quarantine, getting out there in the outdoors. So as our schedule allows, we record. So stay tuned for more of that. Hidden Blade will drop later in July. And yeah, that's kind of it. We thank you guys for listening to us as always. If you're a new listener, thank you so much for checking us out. We hope you really like the show, even if you're just tuning in to listen to your favorite host. And if you have a host or a content creator you would like us to have on the show, tag us and tag them in a Twitter post, and we will work to get them on the show. And to those of you who support us on Patreon, thank you very much. Patches Play Games, Dr. Brandroid, Durka, Poolfire93, Miller, Cyber Shorty, and Old Straight Dog. Your rewards are coming very soon. Be excited. Lastly, you can find us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at DL Gaming News. You can also find us individually on Instagram at DL_Jameson and at DL_Mother Goose, and wherever podcasts can be found. I'll be announcing a giveaway this week on social media, so stay tuned for that because July is our birthday month. Birthdays are at the end of the month, so we'll be doing a little fun giveaway for that. And that'll do it for this week. Thank you guys for listening. See you real soon. Good luck and have fun, everybody.
And remember, keep your goose loose.
Ahoy there, ye landlubbers! Avast! My name is Captain Logun, and I'll be your guide out on the Sea of Thieves. If you love the idea of stealing treasure, cutting down cursed skeletons, fighting off krakens, and raiding forts filled to the brim with shinies, then Sea of Thieves is the game for you. Join me each week as I dive into the news and bring back the nuggets of information that any sailor worth their weight in salt would desire. You don't have to be a pirate legend to gain access to my podcast. Just search for Keelhauled, a Sea of Thieves podcast in your podcast app of choice, or head over to robotsradio.net or captainlogan.podbeam.com and get ready to set sail for adventure. Arr.
Since the dawn of time, there have been storytellers who teach through their stories. These myths give rise to fundamental truths, and these truths shape our collective experience. Yet these myths are not something of the past, and today they engage us more fully in the story itself. Video games allow us to live the lives of our favorite myths. My name is Blue Crew 86, host of Focus Fire Chat, and I want to invite you to explore our modern-day myths with us. Join with us as we explore the stories, the mythologies of the Destiny franchise, as well as other games. Let's explore together.